Dearest Sarah, you wrote that you would send a letter to me every day, yet I have not received one in ages. I pray that you are well. I have not heard from your father either, but I know mail service to the Ohio frontier is non-existent. Now here is the message I most urgently wish you to receive. Please remain in Philadelphia. Now that war has broken out, that is the best way to ensure that our family will one day be happily and healthily reunited. Although I am comforted that your care is in the sure hands of Dr. Franklin. I do hope dearly to hear from you soon. Your loving mother.
Come back here! Trust me, you can't get away!
Whoever said no news is good news wasn't in the newspaper game.
There must be something you could write about.
Maybe, but we haven't heard from any of our correspondents in 2 weeks.
Look what I found in the street!
Litter?
A letter! The postman must have dropped it.
Let me see.
You shouldn't read somebody else's mail. We have to deliver it to the rightful owner.
But we are the rightful owner. It's addressed to the Pennsylvania Gazette.
It's news, right? Am I right?
Oh boy, ask and ye shall receive. A report about British troop movements. The Redcoats are moving south from Boston.
Are you sure? Who sent it?
The Fox.
That's a strange name.
Could be a spy.
Or it could be code.
Who cares? We finally have a story, and I got it for us.
Maybe Henri's right. At least it's something. Come on, Moses. Let's dust off the printing press.
I'm looking for a Sarah Phillips.
We've got a Sarah Phillips.
Is she here? I'm carrying a letter for her.
Henri, go get Sarah.
Who do you think I am? Your assistant?
Yes.
I'll get Sarah.
You're a captain?
Captain Hodges, at your service.
And you're carrying the mail?
I'm on my way to rejoin General Washington's troops in Boston. I was entrusted with this letter during my trip to Fort Pittsburgh.
I bet that's from Sarah's father.
We have news, Captain. Big news. British troops are moving south from Boston.
That can't be true.
It's true. It's right here in this letter.
Do you know this Fox person?
No, but it's addressed to us. We're putting out a special edition of the Gazette to spread the word.
I wouldn't do that. Do you see this letter mark?
Looks like an F.
It is an F.
I don't understand. What does it mean?
It's code. There's a secret message hidden somewhere inside.
I don't see any secret message.
You can't see it. The real message is between the lines, written in invisible ink.
Invisible ink?
Both sides are using invisible ink. In case a letter is lost or captured, the Redcoats would like nothing more than for you to print this in your paper.
Why?
They want us to think they're moving south, so we'll be unprepared when they spring their real plan.
We almost fell for their trap.
You must be very careful about the mail. It can't be trusted. The British control it.
How does this invisible ink work? I mean, what good is a secret message if nobody can see it?
There's a special treatment. We'll need a man of science to help us.
I know just the man.
The letter F means fire. If it was marked with an A, I'd have to treat the letter with acid to make the invisible ink visible. Gather round. The invisible ink is a mixture of ferrous sulfate and water. The heat from the candle oxidizes the mixture and makes it possible to read what is written.
That's fantastic!
Very clever.
What does the secret message say?
Exactly opposite of what they wanted you to know. The British are not leaving Boston. It will be up to General Washington to force them out.
There you are.
Somebody wanted to see me?
Sarah Phillips?
Yes.
I've carried this a long way.
It's from my father. He's on the Ohio frontier. Oh, thank you.
Of course. And now I must be on my way. Be careful, all of you.
It's only the second letter I've gotten from him since I've been here.
What does he say?
When is he coming back?
Is he all right?
He doesn't say. And this letter is 2 months old, and I can't write him back to ask. There's no mail service to the frontier. And I can't even tell Mother I've heard from Father, because she isn't getting the letters I send her.
She's not. You write to her every day.
But they're not getting through.
Captain Hodges said the British control the mail. I'm going to investigate.
And I'm going to assistant investigate.
Tories! They're going through the mail. It's an offense, an outrage.
Ben, someone went through my mail. It's an offense, an outrage.
Fences can be mended, Mr. Adams.
My comments about Mr. Dickinson, as critical, even petty as they were never meant for publication. Whoever stole my letter printed it to humiliate me and drive a wedge between Massachusetts and Pennsylvania.
Here comes Mr. Dickinson now. Perhaps you can make peace with him.
Mr. Dickinson, may I have a word with you, please? He's as stubborn as I am.
Can you blame him, John? You called him a piddling genius.
Yes, in a private letter. Ben, we must fix the mail system. If we can't trust the post, how are we to freely express ourselves? The publication of my letter hurt our cause and aired a division in our ranks just when it's most important for us to show unity of purpose.
Order, gentlemen, order!
A letter that I wrote to General James Warren was also intercepted.
Stolen is a better word.
Yes, stolen by the Tories and published in the Boston papers. A personal letter, mind you, full of blasphemous opinions and conspiratorial outbursts.
You must learn to control your temper.
I admit I have a defective character. However, Dr. Franklin, you designed the Colonial Postal Service at the request of the Crown. And now a man can't write a word without risking it appearing in print.
Order, gentlemen, order! Dr. Franklin, since you are the father of modern postal practices, I move you be appointed head of a committee to devise a new colonial postal service, independent of the British Crown. In the meantime, we mustn't use the royal postal system, unless you would be comfortable with King George himself reading what you've written.
In the meantime, we have to find a way to get this load of mail through to New York. We can't spare another soldier.
I'll take it.
That's very brave of you, James, but it could be dangerous.
I'll be careful.
You'll have to be more than careful.
Count on me, sir.
I'm going to have to do just that. This load of mail contains several important dispatches to General Washington. They must not fall into British hands.
I'm going too.
It's not safe.
But you're carrying a letter to my mother with news of Father. I want to see with my own eyes that it gets on the mail boat for London. Besides, I'm twice the rider you are.
You are not.
And two.
Are not.
Sarah, if our colonial army possessed an ounce of your pluck, we'd have nothing to fear.
We'll see who's twice the rider.
I want you both to follow Route 1, the postal road connecting Philadelphia to New York, which I established 20 years ago as Royal Postmaster General. I set up a series of milestones that will lead you to New York. The milestones are placed at regular intervals all the way to Boston. My postal system was a model of efficiency, but that was before our current troubles.
passed another milestone by now? Or two?
We're in New Jersey. Maybe they don't go this far.
Dr. Franklin said he set them up all the way to Boston.
Isn't that one? Oh no! Oh. They're the ones who bribed the postman. They're Tories. They're waiting to intercept the mail. What are we going to do?
Maybe we should turn around and go back.
Then the mail won't get through. General Washington won't get his dispatches.
Maybe they'll let us through.
But there's a British soldier with them.
British soldiers are not monsters, you know.
That's because you're British.
May I remind you, you're also British?
Okay, have it your way. Why don't you go ahead? I have to water my horse. I'll meet you at the blockade.
Hurry. Whoa!
Now, why would a pretty young lass such as yourself be out riding alone?
Thank you, sir. You are most kind. I am not riding alone. My friend James is watering his horse. He'll be along.
And what is the nature of the business that takes you to New York?
Well, you see... here he comes.
Whoa!
Now that he's here, may we pass?
I'd still like to know the nature of your business.
We're visiting a sick friend. Sarah got a letter that was weeks old saying that a dear friend of ours may perish soon. We only hope we're not too late.
Oh, well, in that case, please move along. We won't detain you further.
Thank you, kind sir.
Your servant, milady.
That was a shameless taradiddle you told them about our perishing friend.
I know. It was wrong.
The truth would have done just as well.
I was afraid to take the chance.
James, you haven't got the mailbag.
You think we would have made it through if I did?
But where is it?
Where they won't find it.
James, what have you done with the mail?
We'll sneak back for it when the sun goes down.
You are shameless.
Do you want your letter to get through or not?
I want you to know that I disapprove of your deception with all my heart. What if we get caught? Now that we've lied, the consequences will be harsher, I'm sure.
But you saw when we rode back through. They're gone now.
Did you hear something?
Sarah, quit worrying. We're almost there.
Something you forgot to tell us.
Run, Sarah!
What have we here? So, you've led your friends here!
It's not much farther where we left the horses. Just keep running.
I told you this would be trouble. We can't make it.
We've got to.
Keep on them! They've got a load of mail!
Coming with us.
By what right are you detaining us?
Like she said, by what right?
By what right are you carrying the mail? You don't look like Royal Postal employees. I'm sure you stole the mail from those men. I don't care if you did, so you might as well admit it. They probably stole it themselves. I purposely set off that gunpowder explosion to distract them so we could rescue the mail.
Whose side are you on, anyway?
We are volunteers. We're on the side of helpless colonists.
So are we.
And you prove it by stealing their mail?
Have you ever heard of Dr. Benjamin Franklin?
Who hasn't?
We're carrying the mail for him.
Have you some proof of that?
I do. Dr. Franklin asked us to deliver these letters to New York.
Well, this is Franklin's signature. So you are official couriers. That is a very different matter.
Congress has asked Dr. Franklin to look into the possibility of forming an independent postal system for the colonies.
Did everybody hear that? We're breaking away from the royal postal system!
Wonderful! Mail, yes!
You have no idea what good news that is.
Those Tories wanted the mail.
I'm sure they did.
And may we ask who you are?
You may, if you can keep a secret.
I can.
And you?
Of course.
We began some years ago as the New Jersey Committee of Correspondence. We were a volunteer organization dedicated to spreading news throughout the colonies. Our mission was to unite the colonies through better communication. We sent messages to the colonies about the British threat. We copied press reports and intelligence messages gathered from our spies, and we spread them throughout the colonies. Now we still work together, keeping tabs on Tory spies, like the men who tried to steal your mail.
Then you'll let us carry our bag to New York?
Let you? We'll help you. We'll supply an armed escort all the way to New York.
You see, I told you my plan was a good one.
But you could have gotten us in trouble.
She's not kidding. The British would gladly imprison any one of us in this room for what we're doing. You two amaze me with your courage.
You're too kind.
He's right, Sarah. You showed some real bravery.
Why not? I've got you to inspire me, even if I don't always approve of your tricks.
All the Committee of Correspondence wants to do is spread the truth.
The truth is important.
It's everything.
But if the truth they are spreading leads to treason and actions against the crown...
It's still truth, and they should be allowed to spread it.
Well, I don't approve of the way you lied.
We wouldn't have gotten this far.
I believe in truth, not lies.
Look, we're almost to New York because of my lie.
We were almost stopped because of your lie. We're almost to New York because of the New Jersey Committee of Correspondence.
So you do approve of what they're doing?
I suppose I do, in spite of myself.
We'll make a patriot out of you yet.
I already am a patriot. At least in New York, we'll be back among subjects still loyal to the king.
They're not all loyalists. We've brought the mail all the way from Philadelphia! This entire mailbag has been unseen by British eyes.
Why are we stopping off in this tavern to brag about our exploits?
This is the end of the line, Sarah. The mail is distributed here. The volunteer mail carriers divide up the letters at the bar according to destination points and fan out to the different parts of town to deliver them.
What about my letter to my mother? It's going to London, not a part of New York.
One of the volunteers takes the overseas letters to the harbor and puts them on the first ship headed across the Atlantic.
So we've done it?
Yes!
My mother will get her letter?
She will, Sarah. You can count on it.
James, I'm so happy I could kiss you.
Sarah, please. I've suffered enough at the hands of the British.
Dr. Franklin, your report is most complete.
I suggest that we waste no time in naming a Postmaster General.
Because of his expertise, experience, and genius, and as a slap in the face to the British Crown which saw fit to remove him from his post, I put into nomination the name of Dr. Benjamin Franklin for the office of Colonial Postmaster General. All in favor? Aye! All opposed? Then it's unanimous. May I present to you the first man in history to hold the title independently of any king or royal principality, Postmaster General Franklin.
Thank you, fellow conspirators. I accept this honor if for no other reason than to make the king's blood boil.
Dr. Franklin, what will be your first official act?
To establish a line of posts from Falmouth in New England to Savannah in Georgia, and to employ a fleet of trustworthy, incorruptible men. And neither rain, sleet, snow, nor dark of night will keep them from their appointed rounds.
27 July 1775. Dearest Mother, I have read your last letter 30 times. which is one time for each day I waited for it. I'm so relieved that you received my letter about Father. I am relieved that you received any letter from me at all. Thanks to James and Dr. Franklin, I have a new appreciation of the importance of the postal service and of communication in general. How can the colonists hope to survive these difficult times without communication? Even if I don't agree with all of their stated aims, I do so admire the work that Dr. Franklin has done and continues to do in an effort to make this gigantic world a little smaller, so that, even if we are separated by geography, we may all be united in understanding.
Franklin, named Postmaster General of new independent colonial postal service.
January 1776. Dearest Mother, I can't escape the fear of all-out war between the colonies and England. The colonists believe they're fighting for their rights as British subjects, but some feel the only way they can get those rights is to break away from England.
Sarah, you seem troubled.
I'm worried, Dr. Franklin.
About what?
War. I fear this rebellion may get out of hand and lead to something awful.
What could be more awful than the situation we're in now? Our rights trampled by a parliament half a world away.
I wish someone would give me 10 minutes alone with that King George.
That's no way to talk about His Majesty. He's our king.
He's not my king. I'm French.
The whims of royalty have laid the world to ashes. King George is a worthless, brutal man, the crowned savage of Great Britain. Your servant, miss.
Why, bless me, Tom.
You know this individual?
Don't judge a book by its cover, Sarah. James, Henri, Sarah, I'd like you to meet my old protege, Thomas Paine.
Editor of the Pennsylvania Magazine?
If it wasn't for Dr. Franklin's letter of introduction, I'd be rotting in the gutters of London.
You're looking thin, old friend. How long has it been? 2 years? Come dine with us and share your adventures.
A dirty, ragged man who publicly slanders the king. And here we are, breaking bread with him.
The challenge is the elevation of the common man.
I wish he'd start by elevating common table manners.
Mr. Paine, it's a great pleasure to meet you. Your essays against slavery have been an inspiration.
Thank you, good fellow. I'm opposed to all forms of tyranny. You see, our current struggle is not really with England.
I'm happy to hear you say that.
It's against all privilege. It's against any system where some have unfair advantage over others.
I agree. Aristocrats are all wet.
Tom, your passion is stirring, but why aren't you still writing? I read not a word by you in months.
My good doctor, I've done nothing but write. I've been struggling to define this revolution of ours, to explain it in a way that will make it clear to every man, woman, and child. At Benjamin Rush's suggestion, I've called it common sense. It should be on the streets any day now.
May I?
And what conclusions have you reached?
I make the case for total independence from the crown.
Independence? You would cut ties to the king himself?
The sooner, the better.
Tom, while I agree with you, I'm not sure the people are ready for such a radical solution. The majority are still loyal to the king. Their beef is with Parliament.
Ben, the whole idea of a tiny island like England imposing rule over a giant land like this is absurd.
But that's how it's always been.
And people once thought the world was flat. It is my hope common sense will change public opinion.
Tom, in my youth, I was hot-headed, but have since learned the virtue of patience.
With all due respect, Doctor, tell the widows and orphans of Boston about the virtues of patience. I have no patience for patience. Thank you for the meal. Good evening.
That man has some temper.
And some pen. Europe and not England is the parent country of America. This new world hath been the asylum for the persecuted lovers of civil and religious liberty from every part of Europe. Hither have they fled, Not from the tender embraces of the mother, but from the cruelty of the monster. This is fantastic.
I'll never read that man's pamphlet. It's dangerous. He wants to start a war that will take years to end.
Sarah, Tom is simply putting into words what is already in the hearts of many. He's a good man. However, I concede his temper is a problem.
I'll see that he stays out of trouble.
I'm coming with you.
But you don't even like the man.
I don't. But if Mr. Payne's common sense is going to appear in print, the Gazette should have it.
I thought you weren't going to read it.
I'm not. But we are a newspaper, and common sense is news.
Hey, wait for me!
Moses, we'd better get the press ready. I have a feeling we're going to need extra copies of Common Sense once word gets out.
Where could Payne have gone?
Ooh, I hope home to bed, which is where I wish I were.
Either you're all cowards or you're all fools.
He must talk in his sleep.
Come on.
Away with you! You're blowing smoke. This is crazy talk. America's not our country. We're Pennsylvania men. This is our country.
You've got a narrow mind for someone with such broad shoulders.
Why should we fight to defend hot-headed foreigners from Massachusetts?
Because unless we fight for each other, we'll all end up slaves to a British master.
The man makes sense.
How does he figure that? He's not making sense. Why do you hesitate? Has the stink of fish turned your heads to pudding?
Who are you calling a pudding-head?
Time to shut his mouth good. All right, then. Come on. I'm not afraid of the lot of you.
Nice shot, James.
Get him! There he goes! Nice to him! We'll show him we will fight, huh?
Come on, this way.
Back here! That way!
What's this? Common sense? 1,000 copies. I hope that's going to be enough. It's 8:30. You'd better open the shop.
Early to bed, early to rise. 1 out of 2 isn't bad.
Quickly, I must have one before you run out too!
Run out of what?
Common sense, of course! Where else am I to find a copy? Wake up, lad! Bradford's is out, so is Hammersby!
Ben Franklin's! This way! Maybe they have copies!
Hey, what are they doing?
They closed the door!
I thought they had it. They're supposed to be open. What's going on?
Moses, better make that 2,000 copies. If this keeps up, Common Sense will be the best-selling pamphlet in the colonies.
It's dangerous propaganda, and we've helped spread it.
That's not true. You haven't even read it yourself. How do you know it's dangerous?
I know treason when I hear it.
Well, if you aren't interested in this story, you don't have to come along.
What I'm interested in is making sure we get both sides of the story. Not everyone is going to agree with Mr. Payne's ravings. If we're going to gauge the public's response, we need to get the complete picture. That's good journalism. I'll interview that gentleman over there, and you can interview that one.
Come along, Henri. I don't want you wandering off.
No thanks. I think I'll have a lot more fun without you two.
Common sense. More like nonsense. We're all Englishmen. I didn't hear these rebels complaining about the king when he sent his best men here during the French and Indian War.
So, in your opinion, common sense fails to address...
It's rubbish. And I feel the same way even if I had read it.
To me, common sense makes sense. It's like these threads. Alone they are weak, but together they are strong, unbreakable. Each thread adding its own weight to make the whole strong. That is how we must weave this new land, knowing for the first time in human history, we are all of equal value. A friend of yours?
Sometimes.
Well, what did he say?
The tailor thinks Payne is right.
Well, I spoke to a merchant, and he thinks Mr. Payne is wrong.
That's because you only interview rich Tories.
I most certainly do not. We'll stop the next man we see and interview him together. Good day, sir. My fellow journalist and I seek your opinion.
We'd like to know what you think of common sense.
I'm for it.
You've read it?
Hasn't everyone?
Huh? I've hit the jackpot!
We'd very much appreciate your views on common sense.
I'm proud to say I'm a successful man by virtue of my own labor. The men who work for me are paid a fair wage. We share mutual respect. But when I travel to England on business, the rich avoid the eyes of the poor. The poor do likewise, fearing the wrath of the wealthy. Whether my sons fare well or poorly in life, I will not have them fear another man's gaze. That's my opinion, and that's common sense.
And that's one more vote for independence.
Henri knows the streets better than we do. Why do we have to find him?
Because Moses will need help printing more copies of common sense. Henri has a way of vanishing when there's work to be done.
Don't you ever worry about what all this will lead to?
Of course not. If I can't find Henri, it will lead to a lot more work for me. You're not talking about Henri, are you?
No. I mean this rebellion. This Tom Paine character telling people the king is a tyrant. If enough people believe him, the whole world could be turned upside down.
Sarah, don't be afraid. Be encouraged. As Tom says, we have a chance to begin the world anew. I can't think of anything more exciting.
All right. Why don't you search the docks for Henri, and I'll head home to get supper ready. James, sometimes you're not as terrible as you are at other times. Henri? Henri, James has been looking all over for you. You shouldn't be in this disreputable place where people are... reading common sense?
I found a crate full. If you don't mind a little mud, they're not bad. Publisher sells them for 1 shilling. I'm getting 2.
I'll give you 3 to get home. 1, 2...
Hey, I've got customers here.
Of more worth is one honest man than all the crown ruffians that ever lived.
Here's another. We break not from the tender embrace of the mother, but from the cruelty of the monster.
Don't say such things. If you call the king our enemy, he'll become our enemy. It will cause years of bloody fighting, and Great Britain will win.
Pay her no mind. She's just a girl.
A girl, maybe, but no lady making herself a spectacle.
Quite right.
You were saying something about leaving?
Don't worry about that rabble, lass. I'm taking this filthy pamphlet to the proper authorities. They'll know what to do with the author, whoever he is. The coward didn't even have the courage to put his name on it.
You were saying something about Great Britain winning? English girl? I don't want English in here.
Let's show her the door.
She's not welcome here.
Let's get her out of here.
You really know how to make friends. No, stop! Free copies, free! Here!
Out of the way.
We serve no cause if we're as intolerant as our old masters.
Tom Paine!
Your servant, miss.
Who's Tom Paine?
If you had any common sense, you'd know who Thomas Paine is.
Are you hurt?
No, thank you. I have a temper and sometimes forget the virtue of humility.
Humility is an overrated virtue.
It's better than arrogance.
No, Sarah, it's not. I was not high-born. I've had to grovel before fools. I was a fool myself, failing at everything I turned my hand to. Corset maker, tax collector, cobbler. I found my calling with words, but only after I vowed to never again bend my knee before any man. If that's arrogance, so be it.
I was taught differently.
You are a woman, yes. Society has placed you in a different station. But we both have souls, and souls need a voice.
Oh, Sarah's got a voice. You should hear her when she's cross at me.
Sarah, Henri, I've been searching everywhere.
This speaks better than I. You may find this revolution is for you as well.
War with England?
My favorite, apple peach pie.
Dr. Franklin?
I've just finished reading this troubling little pamphlet for the third time. It's written in simple language for ordinary people, but its simplicity is what gives it eloquence. Mr. Payne says the common people are capable of ruling themselves and don't need kings or even men of wealth and high station to rule over them.
But men in your own Congress disagree. They say without guidance, without controls, the common man is impulsive, even violent. Mr. Payne seems better at tearing down than building up. That pamphlet is dangerous.
Indeed it is. There's nothing like it in print, but sometimes dangerous ideas are necessary. The rabble can be violent, it's true, but so can kings. Mr. Payne has written something profound. Common sense is a revolution in thought. It appears to have taken an ordinary man to grasp the power of ordinary men. Well, to dinner.
We just got home. Why are we out again when there's still half a pie on the table?
I wanted to listen to the night.
We have night at home. And did I mention the pie?
It's not about rich men fighting other rich men for more. It's about us.
But we don't need a king. We can rule ourselves with laws of our own making. 'Tis not against anyone. 'Tis a struggle for a new way of being.
They're all reading Common Sense because it makes sense.
I'll say I made 3 pounds.
Don't tell me. You haven't read it?
I read the cover.
It's worth reading more.
I thought you weren't going to read it.
Well, I thought I should at least know what I'm arguing against. Look! Mr. Payne said he wanted opposing views. Well, he's got them now.
Let's get his story.
Mr. Mayweather,
Yes, Father?
you'll need to pick up the pace if we're going to get these up before dawn. And if we ever get our hands on the scoundrel who wrote this treason against reason, I'll tar and feather him myself.
I've got to warn Tom.
We've got to warn him.
I thought you were against him.
Hurry up! Oh my!
Welcome to my palace.
Tom, we've got to get you out of here. The Tories are looking for you. Quick, out the window.
What are you doing?
Aren't you going to make a run for it?
If I ran every time someone disagreed with me, I'd have circled the earth 5 times. I have nothing to run from. Let them do what they will with me. They'll never stop an idea, not if it's a good idea.
Hey, are you guys coming? Anybody?
At ease. Gentlemen, last night I read a most remarkable little pamphlet. I have ordered copies printed to be distributed throughout the ranks. Study it. Learn it as you learned your Bible. And for those of you who cannot read, pay close attention to these words. For were the impulses of conscience clear, uniform, and irresistibly obeyed, man would need no other lawgiver. But that not being the case, he finds it necessary to surrender up a part of his property to furnish means for the protection of the rest. And this he is induced to do by the same prudence which in every other case advises him out of the 2 evils to choose the least. Wherefore, security being the true design and end of government, it unanswerably follows that whatever form thereof appears most likely to ensure it to us, with the least expense and greatest benefit, is preferable to all others.
James, more paper.
Coming right up, Moses.
We must have printed 1,000 copies, Moses. How many more do we need?
5,000. Dr. Franklin says we need a copy for every man, woman, and child in the colonies.
James, more paper!
Keep printing, Moses. There's plenty more where this came from.
I can't believe General Washington wants to see you.
I can hardly believe it myself.
You're an esteemed man, Tom.
No, just a simple man with a simple idea.
And the best-selling pamphlet in America.
With all that money, maybe you can afford a better room.
I'm donating every shilling to the American soldiers. They lack shoes, blankets, and powder for the muskets. The money will do the country more good than it will me.
Here, give this to the soldiers too. It's really your money anyway. Although I could spend it plenty good myself.
It has been a pleasure, Miss Phillips.
It has been enlightening, Mr. Payne. Dearest Mother, out of chaos sometimes comes a new and better order. Perhaps it's as Mr. Payne says.
We have it in our power to begin the world anew, to bring forward a government in which the rights of all men shall be preserved. O ye that love mankind, ye that dares oppose not only the tyranny, but the tyrant, stand forth. America shall make a stand not for herself alone, but for the world.
James, look. Regarde.
September 4th, 1776. Dear Mother, James Henri and I find ourselves in New York, and the city is under siege. Lord Admiral Howe has arrived with nearly 30,000 troops, and the wooden walls of his fleet have sealed off Manhattan Island. No help or supplies can reach the colonials from the sea. The rebels, licking their wounds from their devastating defeat on Long Island, are down to only 9,000 able men. Last night, a British officer boasted, Admiral Lord Howe's flagship, HMS Eagle, alone could sink what there is of the splinter fleet fur-built rebel navy. Henri, when will you learn to close a door when entering a room?
But I'd only have to open it again when we leave to meet James.
A story?
James wants us to meet him at the fishing wharf as soon as you're ready.
Coming?
You're going to be thrilled.
A sea monster? In New York Harbor? Sir, that is most unlikely.
Maybe not thrilled.
Feisty girl, eh? But hear me, lass. I've fished these waters fair and foul more years than the three of you been alive, and never seen the likes of this. Last midnight, it was a mile north of the Whitehall Battery and less than a cable length away from my boat. Round it was, bright like a candle. I tried to give chase, but down it goes, a light under the water.
And then, gone?
Like a ghost at dawn.
I'd like to rent your skiff tonight.
You're not thinking of stalking this seagoing phantom? Oh, James, it isn't real.
Are you sure? Because I think I know what its next meal is. There's the Whitehall Battery. We roll a mile north. See anything?
Yes. Trouble if we run into a patrol.
Oh, the monster.
Henri, no one believes in monsters. I remind you, this is the 18th century.
Oh, but I have heard stories about giant beasts that eat whole ships in one bite.
That's more than I can swallow.
I think she made a joke.
And a joke is what we are. Out here in the middle of... Look! It's the monster!
Hey! What are you doing? Let's get after it.
After it? Oh, we should be getting away from it.
If that's a monster, Henri, then nature's become a coppersmith.
What is it?
I'll tell you later.
The pump was sticking again. I couldn't surface fast enough.
If you must, release the bomb. You'll pop right up and... What did you see?
Nothing at all.
They were watching from the woods. I repeat, what did you see?
We saw that.
And that is?
I think it's some kind of underwater boat that you're going to attack the Redcoats with.
If that were so, such an enterprise would require secrecy, which begs the question of what to do with you three spies.
We are not spies. We're journalists. For Benjamin Franklin's Pennsylvania Gazette.
My word.
No, my words. I wrote that.
And I wrote the grammatically correct article below it.
Benjamin Franklin helped convince General Washington that my turtle was an idea worth trying. I'm in his debt. You three may stay, but only if you give your word you'll withhold the story until after the attack.
We agree. Now, Mr.
Bushnell. David Bushnell, late of Saybrook, Connecticut.
James Hiller, Sarah Phillips, and Henri Lefevre. Now, about this attack.
Our infant navy can't beat the British on top of the sea, so I intend to strike from beneath.
And the target?
You won't be disappointed. Admiral Howe's flagship, the Eagle. 64 guns, the most powerful ship this side of the Atlantic. Sink her, and we break the blockade.
Keep a lookout for the patrols. There's even more ships since last night. I count 300 hulls. Make for the battery.
Something up ahead. Halt! By order of the Crown.
They've got us. Remember, men, say nothing. They can't find out.
What is that?
I call it a rotating oar. It moves the vessel forward.
And this one helps it go under.
Mr. Bushnell, you have created what men have dreamt of. An underwater craft that is practical and safe.
My little turtle is all that and more. You see, once under the Eagle, Sergeant Lee will drill a small hole in the hull and attach this underwater bomb.
But bombs can't explode underwater.
This one can, and when it does, it will send a message to the HMS Eagle that we are a force to be reckoned with.
But the soldiers will have no warning.
Yes, we are living in strange times. But we are at war, Miss Phillips, and soldiers understand war.
There's also pumps, ballast weights, rudder. No end of things to turn, pump, screw, and unscrew.
I know there's a lot to learn, Sergeant. I wish we had more time for training.
There's another problem, I fear. The Redcoats captured the towboat. They took the crew.
I don't think they'll talk, at least not right away. It's all right, General Putnam. They work for Benjamin Franklin.
Ah, yes, I've met the boy. A fine show at Bunker Hill in Boston, eh, lad?
Yes, sir.
This does leave us with a problem.
It does indeed, General Putnam.
Even if the men don't talk, Hal will know that some plan is afoot. We must strike soon. When can you attack?
We need a calm sea and a weak ebb tide, say the night after next. But we'll need another boat to tow the turtle into range.
Maybe I can help. Let us do it.
3 youths in the middle of that armada. It's dangerous.
We've been in dangerous spots before, sir. We know how to avoid trouble.
3 youths, one of them a girl? They would be ignored as harmless.
Besides, I'd only be towing, not actually attacking. And if we're going to report this story, we have to be on the water.
What do you have in mind, son?
What happened?
Sarah, could you please make a sketch of the turtle for the paper?
I suppose so.
Listen, we can't let Sarah know this. She'd object. We're supposed to be journalists, not soldiers. We're not supposed to be part of the action.
You do not trust her?
Sure, I trust her, but she is British.
I think we should tell her.
Look, we'll fill her in later. For right now, just tell her we're...
Observing the British fleet? But why at night?
We're letting them get used to us, so they'll ignore us when the turtle goes on its mission. Here!
What is going on with you two? Wait!
There!
They've seen us. What should we do?
Fish!
Heave to! I'm coming aboard! What are you doing out here?
We are planning to attack and stick you with fish hooks.
What's this, then?
They are notes for writing my mother and my adventures in the colonies.
Your mother takes a keen interest in military affairs.
There's nothing seditious about an intelligent woman wanting to keep well informed.
That's for Black Dick to decide. Bosun, pass the tow line!
Black Dick?
That's what the sailors call Admiral Howe. Give us Black Dick and we fear nothing.
But why do they call him Black Dick?
Perhaps he has a dark temperament.
We're going to find out. They're taking us aboard the Eagle.
Compliments. You're to escort the prisoners to his day cabin.
Very good, sir. This way.
Oh.
What's the matter, milady? Don't like a bit of mold with your bread?
As you can see, we plan to control the Hudson River Valley by holding Montreal on the north and New York to the south, cleaving the colonies in two. Divide and conquer.
A sound strategy, if this were Europe and all pleasant fields and farms, but it's nothing but dense, hostile wilderness. Nature will fight us as defiantly as the colonials. As a colleague observed, you cannot conquer a map. We must first negotiate.
Negotiate? With these ignorant rebels?
I see you've never met Benjamin Franklin. He may be many things, including a rebel, but his worst enemy would not dare call him ignorant. Don't underestimate the Americans, Captain. They're carving a nation out of wilderness.
They claim they were night fishing, sir, but I found this. She said their notes for writing her mother.
I trust there's a good explanation for plying restricted waters in the middle of the night.
Like we said, we were night fishing, sir.
Indeed. Well, you've hooked some trouble, young man.
Admiral Howe, we're journalists, and we're writing about your fleet.
We work for Benjamin Franklin's Pennsylvania Gazette.
Benjamin Franklin?
Mother sent me to stay with him while she remained in London. Dr. Franklin very kindly taught us to be journalists.
And how is my dear friend, Dr. Franklin?
Is there anyone the boss doesn't know?
He is very well, thank you.
Sir, the rebels are planning something. Franklin or not, I don't trust them.
My captain is a cautious man, and with excellent reason.
I assure you, we are only observing.
Just fishing for facts.
Young lady, I want your word as a loyal subject of the Crown that you're taking no action against us.
You have it. It's the truth.
I suppose it is prudent to make friends with the press, sir.
Indeed, Captain.
Oh, I did not think we would ever get off that ship and complete our mission.
Our mission, Henri? You mean gathering facts?
What else?
You mean, what else aren't you and James telling me? You two have been acting odd all night. What is going on?
We're going to tow the turtle and be part of the attack.
What? I wanted to tell you right away.
Thanks, Henri. I guess you're upset?
No, I'm not upset. I'm livid. I gave my word to Admiral Howe. You have made me a liar. I've never lied in my life.
Never?
How could you betray me like this?
Sarah, it's not what you think.
What am I supposed to think? That you've forsaken your duty as a journalist for personal glory?
I knew you wouldn't understand.
You understand. I will not aid in the death of British sailors.
But we're only towing the...
And that makes it right? How horrible! I'm ashamed of you. I'll have nothing to do with this. Am I your prisoner, Mr. Bushnell?
Of course not, but I must insist on your being my...
Guest?
Only until after the attack.
Please, Sarah. Maybe if you promise not to tell any...
You've already made a liar out of me once, Mr. Hiller. That is enough for one night. Ugh.
Dawn's in 2 hours. Time to go.
Give me a minute. We're going now. I just wanted to say goodbye. Can't tell what might happen out there, you know?
You don't have to do this.
Yes, I do.
It's wrong.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I've got to go.
Guess I won't need this tonight.
Not unless you want a beacon to alert the British. It'll be dark, but the Foxfire moss inside will provide light enough to read the depth gauge. Looks like you'll get your story firsthand tonight. Best of luck for all of us.
Lots of lobster bats on the water for this hour. I wonder if they know what's happening.
We're here!
Still wish I had more training.
You'll do fine. I'm sure of it. A patrol! Hurry! And good luck!
The time passes slowly, doesn't it?
It does indeed, Miss Phillips.
Nearly done, sir.
By heaven, I know where I'd rather be.
Why aren't you? Why hastily train someone else to lead the attack?
The turtle calls for limbs stouter than mine. I lack the strength and endurance. My dear brother trained for months. He could make her thread a needle if he had to.
What happened?
He so wants to strike a blow for liberty, but he's down with a fever that ravages our troops. I'm sure Sergeant Lee will do his best.
A little bit up. That's it. Steady now. Steady. Come on. Stop! Pushed off. Current strong. Must fight it.
Lee's air supply is going to run out. Where is he?
The bomb should have exploded by now. Something's wrong. Please get out of the boat.
You said that something was wrong. I want to help my friends, but I can't do it alone.
Air! Giving out!
There he is! Oh, they've seen him!
It's your bomb, Mr. Bushnell.
They're going to be captured. Shoot at the bomb. Blow it up.
That'll send them running and loosen that dreaded blockade.
Signal the fleet. Cut anchors and drift with the tide.
But that will loosen our blockade, sir!
Until we know what and how many we're up against, I won't risk the fleet. Recall the longboats!
They're cutting their anchors!
And their longboat is turning away!
Your friends are safe, Miss Phillips.
I just wanted to thank you for what you did out there, and also to say I'm sorry. I should have told you the truth. I was wrong not to.
Yes, you were. And it hurt.
I just didn't know which side you were really loyal to.
Whichever one it may be. Nothing would change my loyalty to my friends.
Thanks to you two, my turtle will live to fight another day.
I'm afraid it'll be without us, sir. A wise lady has reminded me that good journalists record events. They don't make events.
September 7th, 1776. Dear Mother, Admiral Howe has moved his fleet to a more distant anchorage. I must admit, my admiration of these ingenious colonials. There is something about this new world that inspires new thoughts. Perhaps its untamed vastness fills the heart with dreams of endless possibilities. The more I am here, the more I believe in the future of this infant nation. June 1776. Dearest Mother, in the last Congress, some of the delegates believed Dr. Franklin and Mr. John Adams were plotting treason against the King. However, this Congress hasn't a single delegate still loyal to the Crown. James and Henri have journeyed to New York, where James hopes to interview General Washington for the Gazette.
Provisions are every bit as low as morale, to answer your question bluntly.
Provisions, morale, low.
Not so hard!
Oh, sorry.
You're with the Pennsylvania Gazette, aren't you? We've met before in Philadelphia and Boston. Perhaps you can answer a question for me. What in the world is going on at the State House?
From what I understand, long, drawn-out arguments.
We need an official declaration to fix the people to our cause. The publication of Common Sense changed many men's minds in our favor, but it's time for Congress to act, to exploit public opinion. We need a complete united front. See for yourself. Here.
Who are they?
Hessians.
Hess what?
German soldiers.
There's hundreds of them.
And more on the way. King George III has made a deal with German princes to hire 18,000 troops.
But General Washington, you'll be outnumbered. What will you do?
There is very little we can do against the British and the Hessians, not without help from Congress.
But what can Congress do?
They can issue a proclamation of independence. Then the French government may be persuaded to send troops to help us face this onslaught.
We've got to get back home to tell Dr. Franklin about this. Excuse me, but we need our horse right away.
What's your hurry?
We have to tell Dr. Franklin about the Hessians.
You mean Ben Franklin?
We have to tell Dr. Franklin so that Congress can get the French to help us.
Henri?
Well, in that case, I'll get right on it.
Hey, let me go! Watch out, Henri, they're Tories!
Get the boy. They want to warn Franklin about the new troops. Never mind him. Let's lock this one in the barn.
What is it, lad?
James! He's been taken prisoner by the blacksmith and some men.
Who is James?
He's my friend. We have to go tell Dr. Franklin the Hessians are here so Congress can help. And these men want to stop us.
Tories.
They have him in there.
Let's force it open.
What are you doing? That's my stable.
We're looking for a boy.
Nothing in there but horses.
What did you do to him?
What is this little fellow yammering on about? You can't do that!
He just did.
That's private property.
And that's a human being.
James!
And you're a Tory kidnapper.
You can't do anything to me.
I don't know what I can ever do to repay you.
I do. Get your horse and ride like the wind to tell Dr. Franklin the news. We need some help from Congress.
Dr. Franklin!
Dr. Franklin! Tories got James!
The Hessians have arrived!
They wouldn't let him out!
Good heavens.
They tried to stop us.
General Washington said that there are 18,000 troops.
They locked James up in a barn.
Hessians locked you in a barn?
Are you trying to worry us to death?
Henri saved my life.
You look afraid.
That blacksmith was a Tory. He didn't want us to bring the news to Dr. Franklin.
I shan't let you out of my sight for fear of the trouble you find.
Start over, James. What did the Tories not want you to tell me?
King George has sent 18,000 troops. The Hessians. We saw them arrive. General Washington wants Congress to...
Yes, I know. A resolution on independence. We must try harder to get Congress moving or we'll be finding Hessians in our beds.
The chair recognizes Richard Henry Lee of Virginia.
Mr. President, I would offer 3 resolutions. That the colonies are in fact free and independent states absolved of all allegiance to Great Britain, that the independent states seek to form foreign alliances, and that the independent states establish a plan of confederation.
I second all 3 resolves.
Order in the chambers! Order!
He's done it. Lee of Virginia. What a headline that's going to make.
What an act of treason against the king!
Treason? Your king has sent German troops to attack us.
I want to hear too!
Henri, be careful!
Oh, no! Mr. Dickinson, I'm with the Pennsylvania Gazette.
How nice for you.
What are the hopes for passing the independence resolution?
Few and far between. Independence is dangerous and impossible.
Could you explain that answer, sir?
Dangerous because without the protection of the crown, the frontier will fall to the Indians. And a European power more ruthless than England will gain ownership of the colonies. Impossible because only New England and the South want independence. The middle colonies, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, and Pennsylvania will never vote for it.
But Thomas Paine's common sense has changed a lot of people's minds.
Common sense is anything but.
And just as Mr. John Dickinson tried to infer that Paine's common sense is a waste of time...
I don't think infer is the word you want to use.
Yes, it is.
She's right.
Well, it sounds good.
Words have a great power, James.
I know. I'm a journalist.
You have to be more careful in choosing them.
What would be the right word?
Suggest?
Doesn't sound as good.
But it communicates your meaning.
Even with the right word, this article's no good. I don't know whether Congress is going to adopt the resolution.
Dr. Franklin is having a secret meeting upstairs about just that subject.
So it is our job to come up with a written statement of independence on which Congress is to vote.
So you'd better start working on it, John.
Not me, Franklin. My shrill insistence and lack of tact have made me too obnoxious. If the others know it's my hand on the pen, they'll tear it to shreds.
Whom do you propose to write it?
You, Dr. Franklin. You are the most famous writer on the continent.
I pass. I write for the amusement of my readers and myself. I will not write something only to have a Congress rewrite it.
What about Roger Sherman or Robert Livingston? They're on the committee as well.
They can barely write their names. Jefferson, you have a fine mind and a gift for language.
Me?
You.
It will be an honor to turn what talents I have to this cause. I only hope I prove worthy.
Where's Mr. Jefferson going in such a hurry?
He's got a lot of writing to do.
Drat! Have to do better than that. Go away!
Just want to ask him some questions.
He's too busy working.
Working on what?
I think I know a way to find out.
How?
Never mind. Just wait for me back at the print shop.
Go away!
Chambermaid?
Oh, all right. Let yourself in.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to destroy the... When in the course of human events it becomes imperative to cut asunder the... When in the course of human events it becomes desirable for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another...
It's sedition. He's writing an explanation for...
breaking off all ties to the crown. Finally, a Declaration of Independence. But why does he keep starting over? Why not just write it and have done?
Remember what I said about the power of words?
But doesn't he know that action is needed now?
It is important to take the necessary time to choose the correct words, especially when defying a king.
And do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Order! The chair recognizes John Dickinson of Pennsylvania.
James, look! Those men need help!
We don't have time. We're already late for the reading of the Declaration, and this rain doesn't help.
But they'll get soaked!
So will we.
Look! That one man has a collar. He's a man of God. We're stopping.
All right. Need some help?
Bless you, lad. What we need is transportation to the State House.
Hop in. That's just where we're headed.
Peace and prosperity would be the benefits of independence. Unlike my esteemed colleague, Mr. Dickinson, I have nothing but contempt for the present situation and nothing but hope for the...
We've been detained by the elements.
Order! Please explain this interruption.
I'm the Reverend John Witherspoon, and we are the newly elected New Jersey delegation. We've been instructed by the New Jersey Provincial Convention to support the resolution for independence.
Order! This is a most welcome interruption.
Are we late for the vote?
Thank heavens, no.
Thank the heavens indeed. But thank these young people. Without their help, we might have missed it.
I can't thank you enough.
We are happy to have been of service.
Can we stay and watch?
Please, take the seats behind mine, but you must not tell anyone what is said here.
All in favor? All opposed? That was only a straw vote to see where we stand. Well, only Delaware and Pennsylvania stand against the independence resolution. But in order to adopt it, the vote must be unanimous. The actual vote will take place tomorrow morning. Until then, we are dismissed.
Rat! If only Caesar Rodney of Delaware were here. He'd vote with us and bring Delaware to our side.
Caesar Rodney is bedridden. Wait a minute. James, could you and Moses race to Delaware to visit a sick friend?
If it's thieves, I'm alone. You'll only have me to rob.
We're not robbers.
Then you've come to escort me to the next world.
No, just Philadelphia.
That's a far cry from heaven.
Dr. Franklin sent us.
With news of the independence resolution?
The vote is tomorrow, and your vote is very important.
Help me out of bed, gentlemen.
Wouldn't it be better if you rode in the carriage with us?
Speed is everything. Thanks again, fellows.
That cough sounds bad.
We'd better try to keep up with him.
I don't understand why he wouldn't let us take it.
Now you've seen a real hero.
Steady, Rodney. I've got to make it inside. Oh. As I believe the voice of my constituents and of all sensible and honest men is in favor of independence, my own judgment concurs with them. I vote for independence.
It's unanimous. The resolution on independence passes.
He made it. You got the yes vote for Pennsylvania?
Mr. Dickinson saw the inevitability of our cause and stayed home.
At last, America is independent.
Mark my words, this day, July 2nd, will be remembered as the most revered day in American history, an occasion for games, sports, bells, bonfires, and illumination.
In accordance with the wishes of the delegates, let us now debate Mr. Jefferson's declaration.
Debate what? The time for talk is past. It's time to act.
The bonfires and illuminations may have to wait, John. The Congress wants to quibble over the words.
But you're cutting my document to pieces. I count 30 deletions and changes so far. More than a quarter of the length is gone.
Your pride is understandable, Mr. Jefferson. You have written a magnificent document. But it's vital for us to be united as we take this drastic step. The chair recognizes Mr. Rutledge of South Carolina.
Why do they have to cut the life out of the Declaration? It's fine as it is.
It goes back to what I've said before. The power of words. They are choosing a set of words for which men will surely fight and die. Great care must be taken.
There. A signature big enough for King George to see it all the way from London. Dr. Franklin?
We must all hang together, or most assuredly we shall all hang separately.
That these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do, and for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And there you have it, men, our Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776.
Independence! Freedom!
This is amazing! That one document can have this effect on tired, dispirited soldiers.
This is madness! Where will it end?
In independence?
If the purpose of the Declaration is to gain popular support for the cause of independence, it looks like it's working. This will make it easier for the United States of America to appeal to the French for military support. I have to admit it, Sarah. You and Mr. Jefferson have taught me a lesson I'll never forget about the power of words.
Independence! Freedom!
July 9, 1776. Dearest Mother, where to begin? James Henri and I have been in New York City for a week now. General Washington, the commander of the American Army, has been busy fortifying the city and harbor, and no wonder with the arrival of the British fleet. What a sight! Some say there are so many masts that it looks like a floating forest. You were so kind to ask Mrs. Radcliffe to give us lodgings. They are quite restful.
Down with the king!
I'm sorry I cannot say the same for New York. Ever since the reading of the Independence Declaration on the 7th, it has been a city gone quite mad.
Hey, I'm going to have them pull down this
Stay here. You're nothing but a magnet for trouble. Anywhere you go, bad things happen.
Do not.
I think you'd better listen to James.
You two are just jealous because I have more fun than you do.
Down with George!
Independence!
Of what possible good is a broken statue?
I heard they're taking it up to a cannonball factory in Connecticut.
And why on earth would they go to all that trouble?
General Washington told his staff that he intends to return the lead in the statue to the British troops as soon as possible.
Seems pretty boastful. General Washington's been Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army a whole year and has yet to fight a battle.
I think he'll get his battle soon. A big one.
General Howe, your telescope, sir.
There. That's where we'll strike General Washington and his army. On the heights. We'll drive these pesky rebels into the river and have our troops home in time for Christmas.
I thought you would be more comfortable eating here. Nowadays, the streets are so unsafe.
This collar is unsafe.
I don't know where all those dreadful persons on the street have come from. I've never seen them in this neighborhood before. Shh. Out-of-town troublemakers would be my guess. As Mr. Radcliffe used to say, this rebellion business will soon get out of hand.
I'm sorry I won't get to see Mr. Radcliffe this trip. My mother used to enjoy his stories.
You said he's in... Canada?
Yes. Seeing to some timberland we're thinking of buying along the St. Lawrence. Well, I'm just glad the British fleet has arrived. The sooner General Howe puts things right, the sooner we can all get this silly revolution business over with and get back to normal.
Oh, boy.
Why were you making those faces at Mrs. Radcliffe's?
I couldn't stand it. Seeing to some timberland we're thinking of buying along the St. Lawrence.
Stop that. It's impolite.
I saw a list of Tories at General Washington's headquarters. Mr. Radcliffe's name was on it.
You don't mean the army is going after private citizens?
No, but some other private citizens might. And I think Mr. Radcliffe and some of his friends thought it best to leave until things blow over.
I don't think things will blow over very soon, if our Henri has anything to do with it.
Hey, careful!
Sometimes I think Henri believes this is all just a big party for his benefit.
Sarah, don't look now, but I think someone has his eye on you.
Oh, don't be foolish.
Awfully busy, isn't she?
Yes, she thinks she's a journalist.
Miss, allow me to introduce myself. I am Udney Wolfe Hutchinson from Milford, Connecticut. My comrades in arms and I have arrived to defend this city, and ladies such as yourself, from the cruel, vindictive English.
I'm English myself, sir. Does that make me cruel and vindictive as well?
I was only repeating terms some of our rougher members commonly use to refer to the enemy. Whether they are cruel and vindictive or, gentlemen, they are soldiers, and I offer my strong arm for your protection. Forgive me. Duty calls.
You've got to be kidding. Didn't he say his name was Ugly?
It was Udney, and you know it.
Phew. Where are you going?
With you and the soldiers over to Brooklyn to watch the battle.
Sarah.
I'm a journalist too.
Remember? Concord? Your promise to Ben?
Dr. Franklin, I won't put myself needlessly in danger.
What is it with you and your need to imitate people?
All right, let me put it this way. You can't go.
You're not my mother.
She's right. You're not her mother.
No, but I'm responsible to Dr. Franklin, and he's responsible to her mother. Besides, it's too big a story for both of us to be in one place. One of us needs to report on what happens in the city. Let's face it, you're more comfortable with tea and crumpets than me.
I must admit, James, occasionally, you're right.
General Washington sends reinforcements to the fort on the heights at Brooklyn to counter a large force of British troops heading for Long Island. All right, I'm going to Washington's headquarters.
What about me? Can I go?
No.
We'll see about that. Sarah, who's that waving at you?
Oh, it's that. Henri?
General Putnam informs me that the British are moving up the Gowanus Road, and Hessian troops have been spotted on the Flatbush Road. But there is still a substantial number in camp on the beach. I don't have to tell you what is at stake here, gentlemen. Everything worth living for.
None of my boys will disappoint you, General. They'll throw the redcoats back onto their boats.
General, if I may, this Jamaica Road concerns me. It's presently undefended.
The enemy is here at the Gowanus Swamp. And that is where I'll strike him.
Lord Sterling, I wonder if I could ask you a few questions.
Yes, General Washington told me about you, Franklin's apprentice.
Does it bother you that a good portion of the enemy is made up of Hessians?
Well, son, the enemy is the enemy, whether they're British troops or German mercenaries hired to fight by the British.
But to have no other reason to be here than to fight for money. No cause, no country, no freedom at stake. It doesn't seem right.
I think you'll find they have as many reasons to be here as we do. Now, if you will excuse me... Gentlemen, I have a special mission in mind. I need volunteers. Paid volunteers.
I'm in, sure. What's the mission?
In the interest of fairness, I think the readers of Dr. Franklin's newspaper should understand the thoughts of those loyal to the king.
That's a dangerous point of view to have these days.
Well, nevertheless, I'm interested in what you think about the revolution. I'd keep your name out of it.
I think it's a dangerous, foolhardy adventure. Why do they want to fight to create their own country?
They feel England has mistreated them.
I've read this Declaration of Independence. Is it worth going to war because the king called for their legislative bodies to meet in uncomfortable places?
That's just one of their reasons.
And the men who signed it, what do they know about running a country? These New Yorkers here. Francis Lewis, a hat seller. Lewis Morris, a farmer from upcountry. William Floyd, I've never even heard of him. This Philip Livingston is such an insufferable blowhard. Mr. Radcliffe had to ask him to leave a supper we were giving for the governor.
Dr. Franklin signed it too.
Yes, I know. Even the brightest of men do foolish things from time to time. My dear, you yourself are English-born and bred. Our whole lives are tied to England. Our commerce, our culture, our laws, our religion, our education. Where do young Americans go to become doctors, lawyers, and clergymen? England. In what language are you writing your article?
English.
Exactly. Oh, my.
started.
Oh dear. May God protect us all.
Looks like General Sullivan was right about the attack. It's way over there by Gowanus Swamp.
I was wondering, why did you take money from Lord Sterling? I thought Hessians were the only ones who fight for money. We fight for a cause.
James, I believe in our cause as much as the next man, but I haven't been paid in a long time. Everyone needs a few coins. And goodness knows Lord Sterling has plenty to spare. Believe me, there's not enough money on Earth to make men face fire like that. But they're doing it, and my time will come. That's a rider. Coming fast, too.
British regulars! They're right behind me!
Lord Sterling was right. They're using Jamaica Road for an attack.
Come on!
You say you're a spy?
On the staff of General Washington himself?
You're just a child.
That is the beauty of it. Everyone thinks that and pays me no mind. What better disguise for a spy?
Over there! There they are! After them! Halt!
General Washington, the entire right is falling back on Gowanus Road. On the left, General Sullivan has been flanked, and he cannot hold.
Where?
The Jamaica Road. Lord Sterling's troops held out as long as they could, but now they're pulling back to the heights.
They're running? Why are they running?
Because they can't fly.
You awake?
After today, I don't know if I'll ever sleep again.
How do you think General Washington did?
Alls I know, General Washington goes a year without a battle. First one comes along, and the best we can do is run away.
Nobody could stand up to what the British threw down that road.
Well, we sure didn't.
What now?
I don't know. I just hope we don't have to surrender.
General, the reports say the troops that survived the attacks are safely back onto the heights.
How many didn't survive?
We don't know yet. Lord Sterling was captured. Casualty estimates are high. There's more.
What else?
They captured General Sullivan, too.
General Howe is welcome to him. Boats. All the boats we can find. We are leaving the heights.
In the morning, sir?
Now.
Listen, I am not even a colonist. I am European, like you.
We think you are a spy, and until we think something else, you're not going anywhere.
A spy? What an idea. I am just a kid.
Is that everyone?
Yes, General. We're the last. The rest of the troops have already escaped in the boats. General, our retreat at night in the face of the enemy will be seen as the work of a military genius.
I'm afraid this retreat is a very unmilitary thing to do. We were licked, plain and simple. I wasn't ready for them.
Powder?
Now there's something you don't see every day.
Are these reports correct, Captain? The colonials abandoned the entire fort last night?
Yes, General Washington sailed off under the cover of fog and darkness.
It seems General Washington doesn't believe in the accepted conventions of war. You lose the battle, you surrender.
James, you're back. Pardon me. Are you all right?
I'm fine, really.
Well, what was the battle like?
It was pretty bad. But General Washington safely snuck the whole army away during the night.
Where's Henri?
Isn't he here?
We haven't seen him since you left yesterday. I thought he caught up with you.
I wonder where he... Oh, no.
Henri, where have you been?
Nowhere.
What have you done?
Nothing.
What kind of trouble did you cause this time?
Me? Trouble?
Do we really want to know?
No.
Where are you going?
Since Washington's retreat from Long Island weeks ago, General Howe's done nothing. Until today. That cannon fire has been going on all day. James said something was up at Kip's Bay, and I bet he's there already.
Want to bet?
Sarah! Henri! We lost again!
You were there?
No, I found Ugly and he told me what happened.
Is Udney all right?
Yes. Why? I thought you didn't like him.
Well, I was just wondering, that's all.
So what happened?
Well, Udney told me...
We was waiting at Kip's Bay when the British opened fire. General Washington told us to stand our ground. But I guess it was too much for some of us. The officers couldn't stop them.
Stand your ground! Return to the ramparts! Stand your ground, you! How am I to win a war with men like these?
General! You must come away!
You can't win a war by retreating. Or can you?
So that's Udney's story. It's not a proud day for our revolution.
What's Washington going to do now?
I'm puzzled, General Howe. What kind of commander fights a battle and, after losing, instead of surrendering, retreats to fight again?
Evidently, this American General Washington.
Moses, here's another dispatch from James.
Let it be good news for a change.
It seems we still have quite a few troops, and General Washington has moved them all to a fort on Harlem Heights.
This has turned into a new kind of war, an American war. General Washington is going to fight a delaying action, hoping to wear down the British while giving himself time to build and train an army.
An army that fights with little or no pay, few supplies, few weapons, but with a belief that they are Americans. And Americans will fight and die for freedom, nothing less.
P.S. Some soldiers are putting up a flag on our new flagpole. There's not much wind today, so the flag is just hanging there.
But it's still there.